Okay, you guys, I feel like this week, every client I have talked to, we have been discussing boundaries. So let's talk about boundaries because it is a topic that I've talked about for years. It's something that's very hard to do at times. And there's going to be different phases or steps within all of this that I'm going to talk about today that you're probably going to be struggling with. So the purpose of this video is to give you an outline of boundaries, how to create healthy boundaries, how to enforce healthy boundaries, and see what area you specifically need to be working on. Now, before we get into today's video, if you're not a subscriber, you guys subscribe down below and click down below also to follow me on all socials, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, etc. There's a ton of free information on there as well. So don't forget to follow me on social media. So the first step with kind of mastering boundaries is really to identify your needs, which are essentially your standards. So what are your values, your desires, your limits? How do you want to be treated? How are you treated? Some of this we'll be able to determine based on just how we feel after we leave an interaction with someone. How do we feel? How did that make us feel? So when we start to get really keen on how we're feeling inside, when we have interactions with people, it'll start to determine if a boundary has been violated. Now, I swear this seems extremely basic, but it is one of the hardest things because most people have absolutely no idea when someone is disrespecting them. They don't have any idea of how they want to be treated in relationships. They either just take behavior because they're struggling with codependency. They take behavior because they fear confrontation, they don't know how to articulate themselves, or what usually ends up happening is a person will just fight with the other person trying to get them to change or to change their behavior or see my side. And so they're kind of fighting with someone in order for them to change, even though that's not going to happen. And boundaries is not about the other person changing their character. It's about them changing the behavior in which they treat you. And that definitely can happen through one word, consistency. The hardest part with boundaries is consistency. Can you be consistent with all of these different steps in order for you to get a different outcome? Now, remember what I said, this isn't about changing the character of a person. This is changing how they treat you. So your self-awareness during all of this is going to be extremely huge. You have to be self-aware of yourself. You have to be self-aware of when that negative energy is coming up, when you're getting frustrated, when you're getting upset, when a boundary has been violated. Let's just say you can do step one really well. Okay, Steph, I can identify my needs. I know when a boundary is being violated. Now what? This is when we're going to practice something called effective communication. And this is going to be a crucial step in establishing your boundaries. Effective communication means that we're not going to be wishy-washy. We're not going to beat around the bush. We can articulate ourselves in a calm and confident way. Expressing your needs, your preferences, your limits, that is actually a skill, because here's the one part that most people forget is when you're trying to do this, you are usually emotionally charged because you're annoyed, frustrated, sad, etc. And though all of those things come with emotion, and effective communication is about kind of leaving the emotion at the door. So we want to learn how to be clear and we want to learn how to be assertive. Assertiveness is really about using I statements. We're not blaming another person. We're not calling a person out for bad behavior. We're merely talking about how we feel. Now remember, this person may not respect what you have to say. They may not respect your boundaries, but the more consistent you are with being able to demonstrate effective communication, being able to come to the table with absolutely no emotion. When you're dealing with a toxic person, they feed off of the emotion. So they want the reaction, they want the anger, they want you to be in outrage, or they just honestly don't want the boundary at all and they don't want the effective communication. They don't want you talking about your standards and your needs. So that very well may be the case as well. But let's just say that they can tolerate a person like yourself that actually has standards. When you start coming to the table as a completely different person, where you are calm, cool, collective, assertive, and being consistent with this, now you're probably going to get some backlash, just to give you a heads up, but this is where real healthy behavior comes into play. Effective communication is about the right that you have to express your needs. So this isn't just about pointing out the things that you don't like. This is also about pointing out the things that you do want, need, etc. Now, if you're dealing with someone who is very toxic, narcissistic, whatever, if you tell someone what you need, they very well might completely just go against it because they don't want to give you what you need. And that's totally fine. They can do the complete opposite. They can continue to behave like a child or whatever. This is always going to be about you being the adult and being able to stand in that role, and unfortunately watching the immaturity, watching the dysfunction, watching the disorder, watching the tantrum kind of play out and not reacting to it. If you're dealing with someone who's narcissistic, this is exhausting. This is completely draining. This is something that's very hard to do because you are going on this ride with them constantly. Either it's a relationship that's just completely filled with drama, but here's the thing, and I want you to remember this, even the most dramatic, horrible situations, they give you an opportunity for you to grow. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Steph, I don't want to grow. I don't want to have to go through any of this. Well, look, you don't have a choice. It's in front of you. It's something that obviously you can't escape. That's why you're watching this video. So this is your opportunity to learn something in order for you to deal with this person because you have to, or to deal with future people because this is a great skill to have. Learn how to protect yourself. Learn how to have high standards. All of this is going to benefit you in some way if you choose to look at it that way. If you choose to look at the situation like, oh my God, I'm a victim. Oh my God, why is this happening to me? Then you're not going to learn any of these lessons. Self-care, when you are dealing with a specific person that is very toxic, very unhealthy, someone you've been dealing with for a very long time, and this is just a draining situation, is very important. You have to be able to take care of yourself. You have to be able to slow down. You have to be able to practice this effective communication. You have to learn how to practice to put your emotions and how you're feeling to the side when you are handling this situation with this person, and tend to those things at a later time. The next thing, learn how to say no. No is a huge thing. You've heard it on every video that you've ever watched or anything you've ever read regarding boundaries because it's really crucial. Now, if you're coming from a lot of codependency, then you're going to have some guilt for saying no. If you have no problem with saying no, but you're dealing with a difficult person, get ready for the comments and the backlash. Get ready for, I can't believe you're going to do this. You're so angry. You're so bitter. You're so negative. You always have to make things difficult. I'm working really hard and you're not. Get ready for all the blaming. Remember what I said in the beginning of the video. The hardest thing with all of this is going to be consistency. Can you be consistent with hearing all of that backlash and understanding where it's coming from and not taking it on? That's hard. So see what I mean? Everything we talk about throughout this whole video, there are going to be certain things that you are going to struggle with. But when you understand, okay, yes, I struggle with getting the text message, getting the email from my ex-partner, from a coworker, whoever the person is that you're dealing with, and they're giving me backlash. They're telling me that I'm the difficult person, that I'm the one that always has to cause the drama, and I'm the person that's just being fair, that's just having standards. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. You have to be able to take what's coming in, receiving all of that, understanding where it's coming from, and saying no. And being okay with this person thinking that you're the problem, that you're the pain, that you're the difficult one. You don't need to convince them that you're actually the healthy one and they're the toxic one. It's completely irrelevant. They're never going to have an epiphany. No matter how many arguments and how much black and white information is on the side over here, it doesn't matter. You are the problem. So accept that they think that of you. Don't argue with them about it. Learn how to say no and then disengage. I'll tell you, when you can really get that, it feels amazing because I can't explain it. There is just so much power in being able to say no, being able to just quite frankly not care what someone thinks, or not needing them to think that you're not the difficult one, that you actually are the healthy one. And you don't need them to tell you, yeah, I'm narcissistic. Yep, you're right. I'm the one that's toxic and I'm just being you don't need any of that. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. That's self-empowerment. So we're going to talk about the last one, but they're kind of like two subcategories. And we talked about part of this throughout the whole course of this video is just the consistency. The consistency and the reinforcement of your boundaries, of being able to do all of those steps it's just a crucial thing. So I just always want to be reiterating that throughout this whole video, is that you're not going to just do all of this one time and then everything's going to change. No, it takes a while, because you're really just trying to not change this person, but train them on how they can treat you. And over time, they 100% will change. They're not going to change their character, remember, but they will change how they approach you, because they're not going to get the same supply, the same drama, the same negativity, whatever it was that you were giving them, that you didn't even realize you were giving them, they're not getting it anymore. And when that doesn't happen, they're going to go somewhere else to feed. So for me, the hardest thing was enforcing boundaries. That was probably the hardest thing, because I didn't really understand. I just thought, oh my God, now I'm going to have to completely cut this person out of my life. And it wasn't about, yes, maybe some relationships needed to be cut out, but it wasn't about just saying, nope, you can't do this, and so, I'm never going to see you again. Unfortunately, there are some situations where that doesn't really work, whether it is an ex-partner, whether it is someone you own a business with that you can't just not see ever again. You have to see them, and you have to learn how to deal with them. So this part was hard, and enforcing boundaries looks different for everyone. It is about sometimes taking away something and not being such a giver by having a little bit more self-respect. But even the boundaries does involve consistency, or the enforcing of the boundaries does involve consistency. The enforcing of the boundaries is sometimes just disengaging from a conversation until someone can speak to you in a healthy, respectful way. Chances are you've actually given this person probably way too many chances already, and this is just your way of showing that you have self-respect and standards to no longer engage with someone who can't respect you. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. I hope you took a lot of notes. I hope you are really understanding also what is the area that you yourself struggle with that will be extremely beneficial to you when you are going toe-to-toe with this person in your life. Again, thanks so much for joining me, guys, and I'll see you next week.